Hey guys, this is Stephanie Steidel, founder of the Right Brain Entrepreneur, and I wanted to make a bit of a longer video to share with you a really extraordinary experience I just had. I just got back from a 10-day Vipassana retreat, meditation retreat. And for those of you that don't know what this is a kind of meditation that is not based in any sort of religion, although it does have a lot of its foundations in Buddhist philosophy, but it's really based in science. And what it has you do is learn how to understand the connection between your mind and your body. And this particular retreat or course, this 10-day course to learn this kind of meditation, they have a particular structure. And basically you go into a very remote place in nature and you live the life of a monk. You're there separate from other genders, so it's just me and other females, and you take a vow of silence for 9 days, and no journal, no books, no distractions, and you're waking up at 4 a.m. and either meditating, eating, or resting straight until 9 o'clock. And you're meditating for about 10 hours a day. It was really intense. There was a lot of different emotions that I went through. Some days I was like, get me out of here. Other days I was absolutely elated. And the process itself was really insightful and amazing, and I just wanted to share with you my experience. There was I think 3 main big breakthroughs that I had gotten, and the first one was how when we put ourselves in situations that stretch us, we then can know ourselves so newly. Our possibilities are limitless, but what we do is we put ourselves in boxes and containers, and we say we're a fixed way. We say things like, that's not for me. So what I was coming into was like, I'm not a morning person, I like my sleep, and I can't meditate for more than like 30 minutes. I get really restless. Well, here I am 10 days later. I had so much energy off of 6 hours of sleep, didn't feel the need to take a nap. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning and meditating for 10 hours a day. And now can meditate for an hour without moving, straight, no distractions. So it's a testament to how amazing our brain is. We can train our brains. Of course, I know this because this is what I teach with my clients and in my programs. It's called neuroplasticity. Our brains are malleable. We can rewire them. And I just went through a rewiring retreat. And it was just an amazing support and proof of a lot of the work that I do. But what's so interesting is so many of us don't put ourselves in these situations because we think that we are fixed in a certain way. But who comes up with that story? We do. We come up with that. And it's not the truth. We can train our brain to be whatever we want. It's like unimaginable. You guys, I can now meditate and I can feel the electricity on my skin. That is what I've trained my brain to do over the last 10 days, is narrow my focus in on my body sensations. I can experience electricity going through my body. Amazing. Our brains are amazing. But I want you to look at where do you pigeonhole yourself in the same way and say things like, oh, that's just not for me, when you haven't even tried it. I get that all the time. It just cracks me up. I recommend something to someone and they're like, yeah, that's just not for me. I'm like, but you've never tried it. Consider that this is a way that we just try to get people off our back because we don't want to stretch ourselves. We don't want to go out of our comfort zones. And it's okay, our brain actually wants us to survive, and so all it knows is our comfort zone, so it makes sense. But I'm telling you, most of our misery and our unhappiness lies in the fact that we're staying in our comfort zone. So that was my first insight. It was like, wow, the power of our brains, amazing, and how I can just see myself so newly now is really it's just really encouraging. The second thing that I got was the capacity to really be with myself. You are with yourself for 10 days. No distractions. Just you, your thoughts, and your emotions. And this is where a lot of the breakthroughs and the insights come through. And I had quite a few, some that I'll share with you. The other thing is you're being silent. And without these distractions, what you're doing is you're accessing this whole new part of your brain, what I would call your right brain, because you're tapping into this inner creativity and your subconscious and quieting that verbal, analytical, critical left brain, that one that we're constantly like having us like build to-do lists and going from one thing to the next. We run. As human beings, we're always running. I was running. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I have an amazing relationship. I have friends and family. I'm always running from one thing to the next. This was an amazing opportunity to just sit and be and observe. And often when we're running, we're usually running to avoid something, avoid the pain within, avoid the discomfort, or we're trying to gain pleasure and crave something, and we're running towards that. When is the last time you were actually still and with yourself? Now here's the other thing. If you can't be with yourself for 10 days, can you really expect other people to be with you? You have to know yourself, accept yourself, understand yourself, change yourself. Because often what we're doing is we're negatively impacting the people around us because we don't want to really go deep within ourselves. We're scared of what's there. When really all of us have those demons. That's the funny thing. We run around with this fear, but really we all have the fear. We all have our barriers and the things that we need to work on. They are not going to kill us, but so many of us avoid it. But if you're having difficulty with your relationships, for example, you want to be with yourself. Be with yourself for 10 days and really understand who you are so that you can go and then be a better partner, a better sister, a better friend. And if you can love yourself, of course, naturally, you're going to be able to love others better. So being with myself in that way, being still, being able to observe what my body was telling me, what my thoughts were telling me, able to go through all those emotions, because there were some. I felt sadness, I felt frustration, I felt anger, I felt, elated and happy, bored, like all of them. And I had no one to take it out on. I had no way to distract me. I had to be with it and observe it. And a lot of this practice is based in this concept of impermanence. This is the law of nature. Everything changes constantly. We are born, we die. The seasons come. A plant grows, it dies. Animals are born, they die. Like all across the board, this is just the constant. And yet, as human beings, we try to avoid this. We try to find some sort of certainty and try to attach to things. We get really upset when things don't happen the way that we want them to, when really things are always going to change. The pleasure is going to change. The pain will change. And so to be able to really be with those fluctuations was really amazing and really strengthened my resilience. The third thing that I got was some amazing insight on my interpersonal relationships. And the big one that I'm going to share with you was around my father. Now, when I took the Landmark Forum in 2009, which I highly recommend to anyone, it's a 3-day course, I got amazing breakthroughs around my relationship with my father. I was not being successful in romantic relationships, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm a therapist, had been in therapy, still something was blocking me. And what I got in that course was that I had not forgiven my father because I had collapsed forgiveness with condoning. I thought that if I forgave him, then I was condoning him because he's an alcoholic, and that I was somehow condoning his behavior. And when I got that that's not actually the truth, it just means to give up resentment and therefore find peace within yourself, completely changed everything for me. And of course, though, because that's such a crucial relationship, the relationships with our parents are so important and they so mold us. I'm constantly pulling back the layers still, right? And I got a whole new layer in this retreat. I got really present to more compassion and love for my father. Now, one of the main things that I saw was I still to this day have been saying, well, he was neglectful to me as a kid, that he kept me home alone while he would go to work, and then he'd come home late because he would stop at the bar, and I still was making him wrong for this. I was still saying that he was really neglectful to me as a kid. I had even written it on my application when they were asking me about any past child traumas and things like that for this retreat. And this came up in some of my times of silence and reflections, and I was like, but why do I still say that? And when I really looked deeper, I was like, wow, I've been punishing my father still. And for what? Was he really that neglectful? Now, I'm not condoning the alcoholism. I'm not condoning that he left the child home alone in the apartment, right? But why was he doing that? Well, mostly he was doing that so that he could go work, to make money, so that he can then go and take me to SeaWorld and Disneyland and to the lake and camping, all these amazing fun things that we would do, that time he would spend with me, so that he could show me love. And there was always food on the table. He never put a hand on me. I mean, in terms of him being a father to me, in those moments, he was not being neglectful. Or at least I could choose another way of looking at it that would not have me be miserable and making him wrong. And this was way more empowering for me to look at that. Look at him that way and really get present to how he loves me. And he loves me the best he can love me with what he has. He's sick. So of course he might not be a particular kind of father. But this is what we do. We judge and punish people in our lives because they don't love us the way that we want them to love us, without looking at, how are they showing me love in the way that they know how to love me? And then we suffer and we cut off relationships because people don't do things the way we expect them to. But the thing is, we are miserable because of it. We are unhappy because of it. And then we lose out on the possibility of a relationship because of it. Now, I got home today. Kid you not, got home today to a package from my father for Valentine's Day, full of like some clothes that he had gotten me, candies, and a card telling me how much he loves me and that he's so proud of me. And yet, here I am over here still punishing him and saying he doesn't love me, he was neglectful as a father. So you kind of see how like crazy that is. And it's just, when I was looking at things the way they are, when I am observing things the way they are, which is what this meditation practice is about, not the way I want them to be, what I got present to was my father's love. That was amazing. A further layer of that, one of the things that we talked about in this course was that you and only you alone can work out your salvation. We as human beings expect other people to fix our problems. We expect external circumstances to make us happy. When really, if we want to be happy, we need to be the ones to make that happen. And we tend to blame external circumstances first, or seek outside things to bring us joy, when really, of course, it's inside. When I thought about this idea of working one's salvation out, I thought a lot about my father and how so many of us have been trying to help him. You know, that I tried cutting him out of my life, telling him he needed to get sober. That didn't work. I mean, my mother divorced him and left him and brought me across the country. That didn't work. He's had family members and failed relationships. Like, he's obviously very sick. There's something that he can't work out. And in the end, we can try as much as we want, but it's up to him to work out his salvation. But what I had gotten is I had been carrying around this story about myself as someone that's helpless, that really can't make a difference because I couldn't make a difference with my father. Now here's the crazy thing, the connection that I saw. That this was at the root of where I had been feeling stopped in my business. I have been having this nagging doubt in the back of my mind of whether or not I'm really someone that can make a difference, whether or not I can really help people. Now, I've been a coach for 10 years and also a therapist. I've made a difference with so many people, hundreds of people, and most of them come to me and say, wow, you've made a huge difference in my life. You've changed my life. Thank you so much. And when they do that, I still have this nagging thought, like, oh, I could have done better, or I'm not really sure I really made that difference. Like, I can't even accept their gratitude. Or if I can't make a difference with someone, I get really triggered and I really beat myself up. And I was able to see the connection between these two things. Of course, if I thought of myself as someone that can't make a difference and can't help people because I couldn't help my father, that's going to negatively impact who I'm being in my business and with people I care about. Once I was able to distinguish that that is not the truth, You know, that I did everything I could, and in the end, my Father has to work out his salvation, and that I do make a difference, that is just a story that I made up. Complete peace of mind. I have such renewed confidence in the work I'm doing. It's really exciting. It's like just, I feel so light. So that was one of the third kind of biggest breakthroughs that I got. And there was so much more. I got some amazing ideas for my business. I feel so at peace. I feel more connected to my body. This understanding of really getting to the truth of our bodily sensations, because they're at the root of our reactions, was really awesome to see too. And I can see the connection with anxiety and depression and anger, because what we often think is we react, and usually we react negatively, and then we say, oh, well, I feel angry. But really, we have a sensation first that then triggers the emotion. And we can stop the trigger of the emotion if we can understand the sensation and observe it for what it is and not give it any meaning. We can really, at the subconscious level, train our brains to be happier and less reactive. Amazing, amazing. So I really, of course, recommend this experience. It was by no means easy, and yet really extraordinary. It was very rewarding. I often think anything that is rewarding is going to require work, and if you want to stretch yourself and grow, definitely look into it. This is something that you don't have to pay for. It's completely donation based, and that's what really got me through the 10 days. On day 4, when I was like, I don't know about this, I said, you know what, Steph, stay until day 10, because people are still coming to this thing. It's still around. If it wasn't giving people benefit and it's donation based, then it wouldn't be around anymore. And I'm really glad I did. And so I just wanted to share that with you. If you have any questions about my experience or Vipassana, feel free to reach out. It was really amazing, and just hope you got some insights and value for yourself out of my sharing today as well. And I'll talk to you guys soon.